The narration hit my screen just as my knuckle hovered over the door. "Don't come over." I blinked at it. The 3 gray bubbles that used to mean comfort, now a warning light in my palm. Outside his apartment, the hallway light buzzed and flickered like it couldn't decide whether to help me or hide me. It was 11:06 p.m. I'd come straight from my night shift, a bag of his favorite cinnamon rolls cooling against my wrist. He'd said earlier, "Come over after work. I miss you." I hadn't told him I was 10 minutes ahead of schedule. I stared at the message. Then another came, too fast to be thought through. "I'm not feeling well. See you tomorrow." I could have turned around. I could have called, or trusted him, or at least caught my breath. Instead, I put my ear to the door. I know how that sounds, paranoid, dramatic, but we were 2 months from our wedding. We'd picked colors, argued about centerpiece heights, and merged our Amazon wish lists. Trust is supposed to live in your sternum, like a second heartbeat. Mine had been offbeat for a week. The narration came a burst of laughter. Not his. A man's voice, warm and low. Then muffled words I couldn't make out. A cork popped, or something like it. Glass on wood. My eyes found the small doorbell camera he'd installed for packages. The ring around it glowed blue. My own reflection stared back. Messy bun, tired scrubs, a stubborn line between my brows I swore hadn't been there a year ago. I hit record on my phone out of instinct more than strategy. A video of a door, the faint sound of men laughing. Ridiculous evidence, unless you know what you're listening for. Then the second laughter came. High, breathy, tipsy. Definitely not a man. It cut through my skin like an ice-edged paper cut. I didn't breathe. The other voice, male, shushed the laughter. And then, right against the door, my fiancé said, "Shh, babe." That was her text. "We're fine." My body moved without me. The bag of cinnamon rolls slipped down my arm and thumped softly against my thigh. I felt my mouth form his name, but nothing came out. And then the worst thing. The soft, unmistakable sound of kissing. I knocked. Silence slammed against the wood. I knocked again, harder, using the kind of rhythm that means police or rage. The pee-hole darkened for a second. I looked up into it. My phone trembled in my hand, the timer counting seconds in the corner. "Evan," I said, finally finding my voice. "Open the door." His voice came small and strained through the wood. "Liv, I'm... just a second." There are moments you become a version of yourself you didn't think you had the nerve to be. Instead of waiting, I bent down, picked up the bakery bag, and set it gently on the doormat. I angled my phone closer to the door, pulled the zipper on my hoodie halfway down so my name badge flashed, and I said, weirdly calm, "If you don't open this door, I'll call your landlord and the cops to do a welfare check. You just texted me that you're sick. I'm worried." The knob twisted. The chain slid. The door cracked open. My fiancé's face was a movie of guilt. His hair was a little flatter than usual, like someone's hands had been in it. He wore the t-shirt I always stole to sleep in, the one with the faded tour dates on the back from a band he never actually saw. The apartment behind him smelled like his cologne and something floral. Candle? Perfume? The audio on my phone picked up a whisper of movement deeper inside. "Hey," he said. He tried to smile. It came out wrong, a shape his mouth hadn't rehearsed. "I didn't want you to see me like this. I'm, like, really nauseous." A throat cleared in the living room. Male, definitely. "Evan?" the voice called, soft and uncertain. "You good?" Evan's eyes flinched. The tiniest twitch, but I saw it. He stepped aside, because lies need space, and truth doesn't. In that space, the living room burst into view. The wine bottle on the coffee table, the 2 glasses half full, the throw blanket tangled on the couch like it had been pulled quick and hungry. And there, in the doorway of his bedroom, stood a guy I'd never seen before. Tall, good jaw, bare feet. He wore Evan's gray hoodie. He held it closed with one hand like a robe. Behind him, the whisper of the high, breathy laugh again. Only now I realized it was a recorded TikTok looping on the TV. Some wine-tasting fail sounds, on mute except for the occasional giggle. The man's eyes landed on me, then on Evan, and the room filled up with the word we weren't saying. I heard myself ask, "Who is he?" No one answered quickly. The pause dragged like a net through water, catching everything we thought we were. Evan ran his hand over his face. "Liv, this is Chris," he said, the way you might introduce someone you'd bumped into at Target. He's a friend." I looked at the hoodie Chris held shut with his fist. "You're wearing my fiancé's clothes," I said. "How friendly are we talking?" Chris flushed. "I should go," he murmured, reaching for the sneakers by the couch. "Stay," I said, surprising myself. My voice didn't shake. I raised my phone. "Steady now. If you're here as a friend, you won't mind helping me understand what I'm looking at." The narration swore under his breath. "Liv, can you please put the phone down? This is not—" He gestured uselessly, as if he could mime the right explanation into being. I looked at his hand, and remembered the way it had trembled when he put the ring on my finger by the lake last fall, the sun hitting the water in shards. I remembered his mother crying into a linen napkin when we booked the venue. I remembered my aunt Venmoing me $1,000 with the note, "For the dress, may it be everything." My chest went hot, and then cold. I let the silence do the work. We're always told to fill it. I let it open like a trap door. Evan fell in. "It's recent," he blurted, eyes wide with a child's fear of consequences. "It's only a few weeks. I didn't know how to tell you. I was trying to figure it out." "Figure what out?" I asked. "Whether to humiliate me on a Tuesday or a Thursday? Whether to sleep with him under our wedding registry?" The narration flinched again, like I'd struck him. He stepped forward, palms up. "It's my fault too," he said, and there was something soft and honest in his voice that made me want to be cruel and kind in the same breath. "We met at your engagement party. He said you two were complicated. I believed him. That's on me." I stared at Evan. "We are complicated," I said. "We're complicated by the fact that you are engaged to me and sleeping with someone else." I shifted my phone, making sure the little red circle in the corner kept counting. "Anything else I should know while I'm standing in the wreckage?" Evan's shoulders collapsed in a way that made him look small. "I didn't plan this," he murmured. "I love you. I love you." His eyes filled. the tears like props he didn't know how to use. When I'm with him, I feel. He stopped, the sentence like a car that wouldn't start. He looked at Chris, and for a second something real passed between them. Something I understood too late. The hallway radiator clanked. The door was still open. Somewhere in the building, a baby cried, a new life announcing itself, while mine broke quietly. "Okay," I said. I surprised myself again by not screaming. Instead, I stepped backward, out of the apartment, into the corridor with the flickering light. I pulled the cinnamon rolls bag closer and set it against his wall. "Here's what's going to happen. We are done. I will be sending you a list of deposits to be returned to me. Venue, florist, photographer, and the ring insurance I paid because you forgot. We will email, not call. You will tell your mother yourself. I'll mail the invites we haven't sent yet back to the printer to be recycled. Liv," he whispered, reaching. I stepped back. He froze, like I'd sprouted teeth. "I'll also be sending the video I just recorded to my own email and my sister's," I added, lifting the phone slightly for emphasis. "And if I hear even a whisper of a different story out in the world, that I went crazy, that I imagined this, that I overreacted because of hormones, I will send it to your mother, your boss, and hell, the group chat with your cousins that you forgot I'm still in." Chris swallowed. "You don't have to." "I know," I said, and for the first time since the text, I felt something steadier than rage, clarity. "But I will, because for a year I have felt like a detective in my own life, and I'm done being polite about my own evidence." Evan leaned his forehead against the doorframe. "I'm sorry," he said, and it sounded like a penny dropped in a well, small, metallic, already sunk. I left. The hallway swallowed me. The elevator was slow and cruel, so I took the stairs, phone pressed flat to my chest like a passport. Outside, the city air was cold enough to sting. I got in my car and watched my hands shake on the steering wheel, as if they belonged to someone who hadn't already told herself 10 nights in a row that something was off. I didn't cry until I got home, and my cat headbutted my shin, and I realized I'd left the cinnamon rolls on his doormat. The absurdity unspooled me. I sat on my kitchen floor and cried until my face hurt. Then I opened my laptop. A woman can be devastated and efficient. I canceled the cake tasting appointment with a polite lie about plans changing. I emailed the venue with the clause number circled, non-refundable but transferable to a date within 18 months for a different event. My sister called at 12:42 a.m., and I told her everything. She said, "I'm coming over," and did, with ice cream and a blanket from my mother's sofa I didn't know I missed until it smelled like childhood in my hands. The next morning, I returned the ring to the jeweler and asked about consignment for the dress I hadn't even worn. The saleswoman squeezed my fingers in a way that said she'd seen this before. She pulled out a stack of forms that made independence feel like a checklist. Deposit recouped, date freed, account unlinked. That afternoon, I sent a concise email to our vendor list. "The wedding on July 21 is canceled. Please see attached for cancellation terms. Do not contact the groom." It was petty, maybe, but I was allowed a little narrative control. By evening, my inbox held a reply from Evan. It was long and wandering, filled with too many adjectives. But the important parts were there. He acknowledged what I had recorded. He admitted the timeline. He agreed to reimburse me for the deposits in full by Friday. He used the word gay like it was a guest who had finally arrived at his party, late and apologetic, but undeniable. I read it twice and felt the part of me that wanted to fix him stand up and walk out of the room. I wish I could tell you I never looked back, that I didn't stalk his socials or replay the video at 2 a.m. like a masochist. I did both, twice. Then I deleted the footage from my camera roll and left it where it belonged, in my email, in a folder marked "For When I Doubt Myself." 3 weeks later, I drove to the venue on what would have been our final planning meeting. I brought my sister and a bottle of seltzer and stood under the twinkle lights I'd chosen. The event coordinator hugged me and said, "We filled your date with a surprise anniversary party. 20 years." I smiled at the number like it belonged to a language I could learn. The narration should feel now. Love can be true and still not be honest. Sometimes the mercy isn't in forgiving. It's in letting the facts do what they do best: settle. My fiancé texted, "Don't come over," when I was already at the door. It felt like a cosmic joke, a warning I ignored but recorded anyway. In one night, our engagement ended. In 1 week, I reclaimed our deposits and my own name on the lease. In 1 month, I slept hard enough to dream about something simple: a table for one, then two when I'm ready. I didn't get the wedding. I got something else I didn't realize I needed: the proof that I could choose myself. And I did.